Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Stadium Bela Vista in Paixão in the Algarve in Portugal. It is the opening day and indeed the opening game of the 2015 Algarve Cup, the most prestigious women's competition outside of the competitive arena of the World Cup, the Olympics, and of course the Confederation Championships. Plenty of big names involved, as there will be in the World Cup in the summer.
Freunde und Familie nennen mich Lira. Meine Hobbys sind
Yeah, my friends and family call me Lira. My hobbies are listening to music, cooking, dancing,
tanzen
and enjoying time with my friends and family.
Jag är född och uppvuxen i en liten by som heter Gantofta.
I was born and grew up in a small village called Gantofta. I love my mum, food, and I'm a big fan of music. My nickname is Boulette. If I had to define me in a few words, I would say a very energetic woman, sensitive but always here for my friends. My name is Fatmir Alouchi. I'm a midfielder of Paris Saint-Germain and also of the German national team. My name is Caroline Seger. I'm a midfielder of PSG, co-captain of the Swedish national team. I am Laure Boulot. I play as a left-back for Paris Saint-Germain and also the French national team. 6th of December 2014, our three PSG players arrive at Eurosport headquarters in Paris. A special day for them. It's the day of the World Cup 2015 draw. Well, normally I'm stressed, but not that day because I knew I'd be with both Lira and Caroline, so it was cool. I didn't stress waiting for the draw and the names of our future opponents. So it's time for a makeover. And then off to the studio for the draw, live on Eurosport. Welcome everybody. Now it's time to follow the draw of the 7th Women's World Cup.
I'll die.
La France.
I was deaf. Okay. Groupe F.
Now we're in Group F. I'm shaking.
Ça fait bizarre, j'en tremble.
Germany.
After France's ball is out, Germany's ball is drawn. Germany will face Thailand.
B.
Thailand. Thailand.
Is this your group? Oh my God. Non, mais Hey. This is arranged.
Yeah, it's true. We face teams that we should be able to beat.
B or C?
I think this year we had a bit of luck.
B or C? Please, merci.
It's luck also for Caroline and Sweden. Sweden will have to face the USA, Nigeria and Australia in a group of death.
Be careful. Yeah. Be careful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This draw is finished. I wish you and we wish you all the best for the next 6 months. Great competition in 2015 and see you in Canada next June 2015. Thank you.
So the 9th of January 2015, a special day for Paris Saint-Germain, who face Juvisy for a derby in the first division in the French league. It's an awful day in France. It's the day that 2 Islamic terrorists killed 12 people at the Charlie Hebdo head office. Tragedy followed by a double hostage-taking in the Paris area and concluded only 2 hours before the match, with more people tragically killed. Yeah, I'm a Muslim myself and have strong feelings about it. It makes me angry when I see what kind of people disgrace our religion. And honestly, it wasn't easy to deal with. So a very special atmosphere in which to play a game of football. The job of those people was to draw caricatures. They were there today. If we were victims of this tragedy, I think they would make their job even better today. So I think the best tributes we can have for those victims is just to give our best. It's the only way. The only way to face those tragic events. So the show must go on. The Paris Saint-Germain girls have the opportunity to produce a win and confirm their superiority on Juvisy, a main rival in the French league, and the race to the Champions League. Game starts well for PSG, who will take the lead in the first half. Kenza Dali converting a penalty after 24 minutes. In the second half, PSG confirmed their domination with 2 great goals of Lira Alouchi. And a goal too for Caroline Sager, who scores the 3rd and final goal of the match. A great win then for Farid Benstiti's team, who are sure now to be in the Champions League next season and stay in the race for the title with Lyon. Against Juvisy, it's always special. Derby is the perfect word to define it. This time we have been better in all departments, including the way that we think about the game. #21st of February, Charlotte Stadium, D-Day for maybe the most important game of the season. PSG hosting Lyon, the French champions for the last 8 years. Lyon won all their league matches so far, including a 2-1 success over PSG at home in December. Now it's time. We've done our best to be ready for this final. It won't be easy. We know that we have to win by 2 clear goals. It's maybe good timing at home to show that it's not easy to play here, and to show that we also have big dreams. The PSG managed to eliminate Lyon in the last 16 of the Champions League, but they dream about a new achievement of winning the title. Unfortunately for PSG, this match becomes a nightmare. After half an hour, the opening goal of Kamil Abali for Lyon. Five minutes later, Lotte Schelling scores the second goal. A national teammate, of course, of Caroline Sager. Same story after half-time. 2 more goals for Lyon. A great free kick by Elise Boussalia, followed by a last goal for Lyon for Lara Dickinman, and a 4-0 win.
Face au Paris Saint-Germain. Lyon se dirige vers un 9e titre de championne de France consécutivement.
Haben die dann einfach nur spielen lassen und es war ein verdienter Sieg für Lyon. Und
We let them play. It was a deserved win for Lyon. And I think if you see the big picture, Lyon also deserved to win the league title.
J'ai beaucoup d'amour pour mon club, mais malheureusement ça suffit pas dans des sports comme ça. En saison, il y a des vagues et j'ai l'impression qu'on est dans.
I love my club, but unfortunately it wasn't enough today. In a season there are ups and downs, and we are deeply down. It's up to us to get back on top. So an interesting insight into the 3 PSG players who will play their part, of course, at the Women's World Cup next summer, a trophy that Japan will be desperate to try and defend. The current Asian and world champions kicking off the opening match at the 2015 Algarve Cup, a competition that Japan are yet to win, having twice been runners-up in their previous 4 appearances.
Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Japan.
So Japan, the world champions, the Asian champions, finally, having won the Asian Cup for the very first time, beating Australia in the final last year. Looking to win the Algarve Cup for the very first time in their history. A very different looking Algarve Cup this time around. Normally the format is that groups A and B are the competitive sides, with the winners of those groups going through to play the final. And Group C is what's called a development group, with so-called lesser nations playing for the chance to meet the bigger names in the playoff. This time around, though, it is 3 very strong groups, and the 2 best group winners will play the final. So there is a possibility that a team, well, it will happen, a team will win their group and not go to the final. So the teams can ill afford to drop any points. Last year, Japan topped their group with just 5 points. Wins against Sweden and Denmark. Failed to beat the USA. Made it through to the final, where they lost to Germany by 3-0. But really, in this new format for the Algarve Cup, there is room for no slip-up. It is the first step, really, towards the warm-up for the World Cup finals. Japan have organised a couple of friendlies for themselves in May, where they will face both New Zealand and Italy, one of the stronger nations not to have qualified for the World Cup, the Italians. And they're up against a Danish team, another decent team, who failed to make it once again to the World Cup finals. All that despite a really good European Championships a couple of years ago, where they reached the semi-finals in Sweden. Norio Sasaki, the man in charge of Japan. The pressure is on this time around. In Germany 2011, when they came out on top of the world, nobody truly expected them to go all the way, particularly with their victories against Germany and then in the final against the United States. Didn't play any part in the Algarve Cup, the Japanese, until the 2011 competition, but now they are regular performers here. This is the 5th successive time that Japan will compete in this competition, with a mixed record so far, having twice reached the final and twice gone out in the group stages. Referee for this one, Claudia Umpierrez of Uruguay. Danish captain Janni Arndt Jensen. Aya Miyama wears the armband for the Japanese. Squad which these days is a mixture of young and old. The success has been continued from the World Cup, remember, reaching the final of the Olympic Games just a year after that success, and then finally laying the ghost to rest of the Asian Cup, a competition which bizarrely it took Japan an awful long time to win. Well, there'll be red-hot favourites for this game, that is for sure. The Japanese in a tough group. They host Portugal involved, but most notably the French as well. It's expected to be a two-way fight between Japan and France to stand a chance of qualifying for the final. A reminder that winning the group doesn't guarantee you a place in the final this time around. Plenty of big names here, though. It should be a competitive tournament with some wonderful action. So the 2015 Algarve Cup is underway. Japan, the Asian and World Champions, all in blue. Denmark in their changed all-white strip. Wayne Boyce to take you through the action. Delighted to say that the Chelsea manager, Emma Hayes, is alongside me. And Emma, what better place to start really than Japan in the opening game?
Absolutely, and you can see just how much respect Japan has for Denmark by putting out a very experienced team in preparation for the World Cup. I think that's what the challenge will be for Denmark today, how they will cope with this vast experience. We know that Japan has continually done well in the build-up to the World Cup, so it's a good test for Denmark.
Washimitsu, touch back to Yamane in the Japanese goal. Riding the crest of a wave again, the Japanese with that victory in the Asian Cup. It was mightily important for them. It was one of the anomalies really in the women's game, wasn't it, that Japan had never been Asian champions, but finally now they have been. It's a good ball in behind for Denmark early on though, and Yamane off her line to make the save. It's blocked on the line and a great chance for Denmark, and that is wonderful defending by Washimitsu, although the goal has been given. Cleared from behind the line, and Tunny Troelsgaard has given Denmark the lead, and what a start from the Danes inside 90 seconds.
Well, I was just about to say it'd be a really good test for the goalkeeper, Yamane. A simple ball in behind, she doesn't deal with it, and neither does the Japan defence. Clearly over the line. Great start for Denmark, and very early test of that space in behind the back four. Really has to do better there. It's poor goalkeeping from Yamane. Desperate stuff on the line.
It's fabulous defending by Washimitsu. The first clearance, then almost the second, but just over the line. And Denmark up and running, and we have our first goal of the Algarve Cup inside 90 seconds. Tunny Troelsgaard with the finish for Denmark. Player from Brøndby. Capped over 60 times for the Danish national team. It will have hurt them, Emma, missing out on the World Cup again, because I know after a really good performance in the Euros, hopes were high, but it was a tough group with Iceland and Switzerland.
Indeed, but they've evolved as a team. I think they caught the attention of many fans during that period because they play a wonderful possession-based game. But I think this team now is a little more direct. tend to get through the thirds a lot quicker. It's something their coach Nielsen has worked on.
Well, they certainly got into the final third quickly enough for that opening goal. Launched forward by Kinga. That will be a worry for Japan, that the goal came about from a rather straightforward ball from the Danes.
Well, you have to expect Yamani is going to deal with different threats throughout the Algarve Cup. But you expect a top-class keeper to deal with that. She just pushed the ball back into pressure.
Towards Trollsgaard again. There's a chance now, though, for Denmark. Harder's in behind. Yamani off a line to make the save. And again, desperate stuff back there for Japan. Great chance for Pernille Harder.
Well, they're just all over the place, Japan. Any ball in behind that back four, really exposing that lack of pace that Kumagai in particular has.
Samashima up against it again here from Togerson.
Denmark couldn't have asked for anything better. They're on the front foot. You see, once again, I think Harder decided to just lift the ball over Yamani rather than round the keeper. I think Yamani's a little fortunate there.
The least experience of the three goalkeepers that Japan have brought to the Algarve Cup, Yamani. Swinging corner, well held though by Yamani. Kaihore with 46 caps and Fukumoto with 75. And this is what the Algarve Cup is all about, gaining that invaluable experience. Kawasumi, too far ahead of Agimi though.
Well, we can see the way that Japan has lined up with Ogimi straight down the middle and Ono playing in that pocket behind. Not that those players can get involved in the game yet because there's real hesitancy in that back four. You'd expect with the experience of Kumagai and Iwashimishu, they would have the ability to cope with that threat in behind, but they just haven't settled.
And Denmark have though. It's Pedersen. Launch forward again for the dangerous Johanna Rasmussen. Touch off again by the goal scorer Trollsgaard. Shifted on by Harder. Japan almost winning possession back, but it was a good challenge by Nina Pedersen. Certainly haven't started this game like world champions, the Japanese. Now a bit ring rusty though. It's their first games of 2015. They haven't played since a double bill against Canada in October, where they beat the World Cup host 3-0 and 3-2. Rasmussen. And the Japanese under pressure. Miyama. Samashima. Gimi was hoping it would run through, but Pedersen takes it away. Sanve. This is Togerson. Japan have it back though with Kumagai.
Look at the positive attacking intent from Denmark. Both Pernille Harder and Trollsgaard are playing very high, making it difficult for Japan to play the ball into midfield players. Sakaguchi's having to come deep to get on the ball. This is a real difference in philosophy for Denmark. I think in order for them to kick on, they have to build on the work and the successes of the previous 12 months.
Well, that's how to play. Before Miyama could get a foot to that. Sandvej with the throw. King has header out. Heavy touch though from the goal scorer Trollsgaard, who I don't think could quite believe her luck in the opening 90 seconds to have the goal at her mercy.
Well, it was opportunistic. It's good movement in behind, but you see just that hesitancy from Yamani. She comes out originally, doesn't go the full hog. But that is the difference with this Denmark team. You know, they've scored 4 goals away in America. Really are a team that want to create chances and play on the front foot rather than just deep line possession. They've really evolved.
They've reached the final of this competition 5 times, Denmark, but have lost them all. Most recently in 2007 and 2008, when they were beaten both times by the USA. They are one of only 4 teams, along with Portugal, Norway and Sweden, to have played in all 22 editions. Heavy touch though by Myanmar. I mean, generally it used to be the Northern European teams who would come here for a bit of winter training, but it's developed into much more than that now, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a pre-season. Now it's an opportunity, especially in World Cup, Olympic years, for teams to get multiple games and play inexperienced players. That's not the case with Japan today. They've put out a very experienced side. As you mentioned before, they look quite rusty, slow to start.
Yeah, it won't be a concern, the slow start for Norio Sasaki, as it would be if they started in this manner at the World Cup. It's all about getting tuned just in time for the start of that competition.
That's getting players ready. A lot of these players domestically playing in Japan just in the beginning phases of their pre-season. So it will take them a little bit of time, different for the European-based players.
And remember, drawn with Switzerland, Cameroon and Ecuador in the World Cup. Here's Ando. Overrun it though, a group that you would certainly expect the Japanese to qualify from.
I think it's interesting to see the way that Japan have pushed Ando out on this right-hand side and Kawasumi out on the left. Traditionally, Kawasumi has always been their right-sided player. And Ando is a player who's full of pace, can deliver a great ball. It's just about getting her into the right positions.
Sandvej's throw to Rasmussen. Terrific player on a day. Joanna Rasmussen can cause all kinds of problems and already has. Serve ball through that set up the goal for Trollsgaard.
Certainly been on the women's football scene for a long time. Vastly experienced player, and in the right situations has a deadly left-footed strike.
And again, struggling to get the ball away. This is harder. Here is Rasmussen. Just tried to slip it through the legs of King here, and then at the second attempt puts it behind for a goal kick. The most experienced player now in the Danish women's squad. The only Centurion with 113 caps.
Well, that's one thing, she will bring quality service to this team. And you can see Japan struggling to cope with that ball in behind, or any balls in the air in particular.
Amazing, isn't it? Up to 2003, Denmark had never failed to qualify for a World Cup, and they missed out on 03, 2011 and now 2015. Here's Nielsen. Now Myanmar. This is Ando. Dangerous ball across, knocked away by Pedersen. And Sophia Pedersen completing the clearance after Nina Pedersen initially cutting the ball out. Trollsgaard after this one, putting Kumagai under pressure.
You can see what Japan's intent is. It's not the first time Myanmar has slipped a reverse pass into the wide areas. player of her quality. She has the ability to open up with a single pass.
And there is one from Myanmar, but Ono is offside.
Something I like to see more of from Ono. Stretch the play, look to run in behind. He's made a career doing that. And this is the real question mark over this Japan team as they age. Is do they have the legs? Do they have players that can get in behind other than Ogimi?
There's Kumagai. Iwashimitsu. Kumagai again. Japan just beginning to settle down and see more possession of the ball now. Iwashimitsu to Kinga. The game plan of Denmark was to be up and at Japan. It certainly worked perfectly for them.
And it's the best thing for the game. You know, with Japan, they're going to dominate a majority of possession. But we really get a chance to see what Denmark's defending is like. And I really have enjoyed watching them evolve the last 12 months. So it'd be interesting to see how they cope.
Here's Ono. Jensen and Sandve between them. Push the ball out for a goal kick. Interesting, isn't it? Denmark have failed to score against Japan in their last 3 meetings at the Algarve Cup in successive years. Hadn't scored in the last 4. And it took all of 90 seconds for Trollsgaard to break through this time. That's going to be a confidence boost, if nothing else.
Well, a sign of progress. Equally, Japan are going to have to cope with being reigning world champions. A lot of teams know what they're about. They have to find ways to stay at the top of the podium.
All 12 teams in action today in the Algarve Cup. Here's Rasmussen. Trollsgaard has made a break into the penalty area. Rasmussen with a cross in. Kinga cuts it out. Another chance though for Rasmussen. Drilled across this time. And Iwashimitsu was there on this occasion to block for the Japanese.
I think that's a missed opportunity for Denmark. It was a great situation for Rasmussen to be in. It's a wonderful ball. She just needed to roll the ball first time. Took too many touches.
Sophia Pedersen. Now harder. Put in though by Sakaguchi. And Kumagai just shielding it back to Yamane.
You can see how high Japan want to defend up the pitch. Of course, there's a great risk in that because Denmark have runners from deep that are very pacey. Not just the likes of Rasmussen, but Harder, another player who will look to get behind.
Pedersen challenging. Here's Kawasumi. It's a good touch shot from Kawasumi. Oh, the first time shot is off the post from Ogimi. And then the rebound is touched in by Ando. And Japan have themselves an equaliser, and that will be frustrating for Denmark.
Just poor defending all round from Denmark. Been dominating the open proceedings, but this is where Japan want to be, on the outside of the fullback. It's a lovely cut back to Ogimi. And a wonderful follow-up by Ando. But you can't leave players like Ogimi unmarked in those areas. You can see the back 4 of Denmark just rushing towards the goal. Nobody's picked up Ogimi.
Really unlucky not to score herself. Yuki Ogimi instead. Kozue Ando scores her 19th international goal for Japan, the Frankfurt midfielder. And this is the occasion of a 120th cap. Put away by Jensen. There's Rasmussen. Well played again by Rasmussen. Promising attack this for Denmark. Or Trollsgaard just unable to turn it goalwards, but Rasmussen is causing all sorts of problems for Japan on this near side. Kinga is really struggling to get to grips with her.
Well, it's just pace, flat out pace, push and run past the fullback. Time and time again, she's able to pick a cross out. And yes, Japan are defending the central areas quite well. But you've got to be worried, the amount of pace in this Denmark team. If you're going to play that high up the pitch, you've got to get tight to the first play and prevent them from turning. If not, I think you have to drop a little deeper.
And it's Kumagai. Now Washimitsu. A really good open contest, though, to get the Algarve Cup underway. Flag out for offside against Kawasumi.
Be interesting to see how she does on that left-hand side. So dominant on the right-hand side for this Japan team. But I think for both the wide players, you can see they really want to sit on the outside shoulder of the fullbacks. But I always feel when you play against Japan, they're not the type of team to put balls in the box in the air. They're always going to be cutting ball backs.
There's Pedersen. Running a lot of ball in that midfield. Good challenge by Washimitsu, though. Now Ono. Sakaguchi. Overhit that, though, for Kawasumi. She had no chance of getting on the end of that.
Credit to Japan, they haven't panicked. Just kept playing away.
It's Kawasumi again. Now Ono. Oh, a heavy first touch, though. And allowed Nina Pedersen in to intercept. She's given it away, though, to Kinga. Now Miyama. Sakaguchi. Neat flick by Ono. Now Samve to Rasmussen. Both teams giving the ball away now at the moment. Miyama back to Kumagai. Launched forward by Washimitsu. Now Miyama. Heavy touch though for Ando. Goal scorer just unable to keep it in play, but they're starting to put one or two moves together now, the Japanese.
Well, it is a pre-season tournament. At times it looks like that, but when Miyama gets the time and space to pick out a pass, I really don't think there's anybody better than her in the world. She's just got unbelievable peripheral vision. Sees those forward players moving outside. Really exceptional player.
Kinga. Washimitsu. Oh, belated flag going up against Ogimi.
Good movement from Ogimi. They do have that option to play the ball down the sides. She does like to make that movement in behind.
Ogimi, one of 5 European-based players in the squad that's been selected here for the Algarve Cup for Japan. Led by Trollsgaard. Pedersen caught in possession, though. Not too much time and space in that rather frantic midfield area, but Ono did well, and this is Kumagai. Now Pedersen. Pedersen to Nina Pedersen. Now Jensen. It just shows the depth of quality now that's evolving in the women's game at international level, that you have a team as good as Denmark not going to the World Cup.
I mean, it's exceptional. I mean, I really do think they've been an improving nation since the managerial change, starting to evolve.
Gimi. Cleared by Harder.
But as with the men's game, I'm sure that Denmark will be better than some of the teams in this World Cup, more experienced.
Yeah, Europe only had 8 places to fill in Canada. Such a strong section. There's always going to be 2 or 3 sides to miss out. Cross into the penalty area towards Agimi, and the header not too far away. I don't think Kramer was getting there. Had the header been on target.
Well, she's been a threat throughout the first half. Agimi gets across the front of that defender really well. Doesn't quite get enough of the ball to redirect it into the bottom corner. It's been a good target for her team so far.
Jensen. Pedersen. Sandve's touch off to Jensen again. Strong challenge from Sakaguchi. Rasmussen. It's a real battle at times for possession in the midfield. Agimi has it, but the referee not happy with the challenge of Sakaguchi. Free kick for Denmark.
Very scrappy in that midfield area. Both teams congesting the play. I expect Japan to move the ball a little bit more across the pitch. Keep funneling balls into the central areas, and there's a lot of turnover.
So Meshima. Oh no. Getting offsides. Keep getting caught, Japan.
That's not the first time Gimi has drifted into the offside area. This time it's Ono. Just goes a little too early, has to keep that run a little flatter.
Sakaguchi. Now Kinga up against Sandve. Looked like handball.
And this is where Japan have looked rusty at times. They've built play up very well, got it into the wide areas, and often this final decision to play to players in offside positions have cost them. You just have to have a little bit more patience in and around that penalty box. An excellent recovery from Japan. Other than the opening 10 minutes, Japan have looked very much in control.
There's Kumagai. Denmark continue to press whenever possible, but it's how sustainable that is. It all depends on the fitness of their players. Here's Pedersen. Now Pettersson. Japan are so clever, aren't they, at wearing the opposition out. Pettersson under pressure though from Sakagumi.
I think what Japan do well in their defending is they're so compact. Even when they turn over the ball, they've got 2 and 3 numbers around it. Something that Sasaki has spoken about a lot is making sure both attacking and defensive part of their play are of equal measure, because everybody expects Japan to dominate the ball. But for them, they want to pride themselves of their off-the-ball play.
Nielsen. Torgerson. Almost ran through the gap, but the door was closed. Oh, it's a slice from Ono. Not the best clearance either from Kumagai, but it's a throw to Denmark. Teresa Nielsen will take it. Sandve. 28 minutes gone, 1-1. It's absolutely flown by the first half an hour. What's been a really engaging contest between the world and Asian champions. A Danish team who continue to get better despite their failure in the World Cup qualifiers. Here's Pedersen. Sakaguchi. Now Miyama. Rasmussen the intended target, but it's back with Yamani.
Just think at times Denmark could have a little bit more patience in possession. Quick to play the ball centrally into Trollsgaard. They need to work the back four of Japan a little harder.
Washimitsu. Kumagai. Trollsgaard. Oh, it's overhit though. It's a poor ball in the end for Harder.
And again, poor decision making. Trying to force play. I think their indirect play is suffering a little. When you're working as hard as they are without the ball, it will take its toll.
Well, that's overhit for Sameshima. Goal kick for the Danes. Picked up again. In the midfield by Sakaguchi. Now Ando over the top, trying to pick out the runner via Miyama, the captain.
I think there are opportunities for deep lying runs, especially the amount of times Ugimi has been offside in this first half.
Sanve played into a bit of trouble there because Ando was immediately on it the moment that she got the ball. Denmark win it back though. Here's Trollsgaard. With Kramer. And now Jensen. Harder's touch, but she turned into trouble. Kawasumi has it for Japan. It's a free kick now for the Japanese.
Excellent defending from the front of Japan. They're inviting the short ball out to the centre-backs and then looking to press with pace. Denmark lacking a little bit of composure in their play at the minute.
Rather wasted that set piece though. Ando offside.
That's poor play from Ando. It isn't the first time. Across the front they've been offside. Just have to have a little more patience. Equally, Miyama could play the ball a little sooner.
There's Miyama. Sameshima. Kawasumi. Starting to knock the ball around really well, the Japanese now, in the way that we expected from them. It just shows you really have to take your chances when you're playing a side of this quality. Remember the chance for Harder. It could have been 2-0 up Denmark. Japan get one chance and it's level within 14 minutes of falling behind. Play from Ando. Miyama clips it through. It's a lovely ball to Agimi and it's good goalkeeping by Kramer.
Fantastic play from Japan, it has to be said. You know, it was about 15 consecutive passes, and this is the ball I'm talking about from Miyama, and a deeper run from Agimi. Stays onside. Should put that away. Yes, brave goalkeeping. It's a deft little ball in behind.
Misses the ball, doesn't she? Any touch on that and it's 2-1.
Great play from Japan. We talk about not panicking when you go a goal behind. And a really dodgy 10 minutes. Slightly worried for them. You could see Denmark are exposing the lack of pace at the back. But once they've settled into the game, they've dominated proceedings. Really made Denmark move around.
Iwashimitsu. Back by Pedersen. This is Sandve. Kramer. Pressure from the Japanese, drawing problems.
This is where I think Denmark are causing their own problems. They're making backward negative passes, inviting pressure from the Japanese forwards.
Pedersen. Now Kinga. Miyama. Now Ando. Cross in from Ando. It's gone all the way through. And still it's not away. It's a great effort by Kawasumi. Now Kinga. Beginning to find more and more space now, the Japanese. Kumagai. Cut out well by Torgersen. Now Pettersson. Space now for Rasmussen, but the ball from Pettersson overhit.
Well, just sums up the state of the game. Japan really on top. Lucky not to go 2-1 up. It's a poor finish from Kawasumi. Once she cuts inside, just got to pick out the bottom corner.
Yeah, went for power, and it was a nice height in the end for Cecil Kramer.
She won't be happy with the defending in front of her. I think it's too easy for Japan to get around this back four, as we see with that pass. And if only Japan could time their runs a little better, they would get in a lot more. It's the frustrating part of their play from the first half. But that's what happens in pre-season tournaments.
It's just that half a second, isn't it?
I'm sure he'll be encouraged, especially with the response after going a goal down.
Yeah, his part in Japan's development certainly shouldn't be underestimated. He's done a wonderful job. This is harder. Flag has stayed down. Kumagai across. Trollsgaard up in support. Harder trying to go alone though, and it was all too easy in the end for Kumagai.
But that's what Denmark need to do more of. Runs from deep in the space behind. I do think for Harder, a player with great individual quality, the part of her game she needs to work at the most is her decision-making in and around the box. I don't think that was a 1v1 situation. I think there were better options around her.
Better away by Jensen.
How many times is Agimi going to be offside in this first half?
Well, it's almost every attack, isn't it, that Japan are offside? One of the forward three.
For a player of her quality, it's not good enough. And it's not like marginally offside. She's just not bending her runs enough. She's not delaying long enough.
Rasmussen. She did well. Trollsgaard helping out. Still going. Torgersen is in the penalty area. Well played by Trollsgaard. Now Rasmussen. Oh, it's a poor first touch, though. Frustrated with herself, Rasmussen. Gimi's touch back to Kinga. Good pressure, though, from the Danes.
You can see why she's frustrated. Her team are not getting a lot of possession. Player of her experience needs to retain the ball down in those areas. I think if they can get her into the game a little more, her balls into the box could cause Japan a lot of problems.
From Kinga. Foul on Agimi this time. Well, the opening 10 minutes, we wondered what we were watching. The game has developed into what we expected to see now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's Denmark now that need to look at their game. I think if you turn over the ball this much against Japan, the odds of you losing are greater because they'll just wear you down. I expect their possession to be a little better.
Rasmussen. Controls guards into Harder. And Pedersen. It's overhead again. No chances in there for Denmark. It's far from watertight, the Japanese defence. It's easy for Kramer. Nielsen feels that the last touch was a Japanese touch. You've had a Nielsen, the Danish right back. She's a combative player, isn't she?
Excellent player, great decision maker, solid. And underrated.
Oh, mistake at the back here from the Japanese. Harder looking to take advantage. Harder with a chance here for Denmark. Still Harder. Yamane making the save, and now Harder has been penalised by the referee, but what a chance that was. She just seemed to take a touch too long before she pulled the trigger.
You've got to be concerned about this lack of pace at the back for Japan. A wayward pass, Sakaguchi loses control, but Harder takes far too long to pull the trigger. Understandably, a foul called against her. I think if I'm the United States or England, I'm watching this Japanese team, know that going into a World Cup, that back four is going to give teams opportunities. A careless moment, a careless pass, nearly cost them.
Yeah, the big test will come for Japan in 5 days' time when they meet France. They certainly have the creative quality to pick holes in any defence that isn't watertight. Kawasumi. Sakaguchi.
Well, I think that's why Japan spend a lot of their play with the ball, because without it, they will give the opportunities to teams to play in behind them. They're not the quickest team. They're not the tallest team.
It's Kumagai. 4 minutes to the break, 1-1. A lightning start to the game with 2 goals in the opening quarter of an hour, more or less, but none since. Chances for both teams. Harder has had 2 effectively one-on-ones with Yamane that she hasn't taken. Agimi with a header just past Kramer's post. Here is Agimi. Trollsgaard, the Danish goal scorer, to Harder. Trollsgaard again. She did well to make something out of that, did Torgersen. Surrounded by blue shirts, though. And a foul by Torgersen in the end. That's how to make not the best ball look reasonably decent.
Well, it's the first time I've seen her involved in the first half. She's come across the pitch to get involved in the action.
Samashima. Now Kumagai. Now Washimitsu. Kumagai again. Possession's very much king, isn't it, for Japan? If they look ahead and there's nothing on, not afraid to just go back and just keep the ball, start again.
As I said, wear the opposition down, because all they're looking for is a momentary lapse in concentration to play a forward pass. You have to be really tactically intelligent to play against them. You have to be disciplined to stay in shape, out of possession.
Taking risks again there, Denmark, but Kramer and Sandberg got away with it this time. Here's Pedersen. Togerson. Miyama. Ando. Rasmussen. Sophia Pedersen to Rasmussen again. Sandberg outside. Oh, Harder with the poor touch, and Ando wins it back for Japan. Samashima. Kumagai into Sakaguchi. Washimitsu. Kinga blocked by Sandberg. Final 40 seconds then for either side to go in with a half-time lead. It's certainly been a bright start to the Algarve Cup. It's off the head of Pedersen. This is the first of 2 matches inside the Bela Vista Stadium. Portugal against France will be the second one, a chance to see the other 2 sides in this group. And interesting to see Portugal in action as well.
Absolutely. Developing nation. Certainly seen an improvement in the last 12 months. Very impressed with their coach.
There's Rasmussen, a minute to be added on. Rasmussen with a lovely ball in behind again for Harder.
But you can see where the danger is. You know, Denmark haven't had a lot of the ball, but arguably they've had the best chances this first half. And you can see at times, biggest weakness to this Japan team is in the turnover, in transition. They're so expansive in their play. As soon as they lose the ball, they look very vulnerable centrally.
Sakaguchi. Kumagai to Awashimitsu. Going long this time, looking for the run of Ono, but it was cut out by Nina Pedersen. Comes back as quickly as it's cleared, though, at the moment for Denmark. Here's Ando. Last chance of the half, maybe. Into Ono. Ono turns away. It's fallen for Ando, and she couldn't get the power in the shot. And that is indeed the final attack of the first half. A really open contest that took just 90 seconds to get up and running, with Trollsgaard's opening goal just 2 minutes into the game. But then Japan finally started to get themselves together and look like the Asian and world champions that they are. Ando equalising after Yuki Agimi's effort came back off the post, and Kramer was left with absolutely no chance. Looking forward to the second half then. Could be a long 45 minutes for the Danes. Japan warming up nicely, but at half-time it is Japan 1, Denmark 1. Welcome back then to the Stadium Bela Vista. It is Japan 1, Denmark 1 at half-time, the opening game of the 2015 Algarve Cup. Let's take a look back then at the highlights from the opening 45 minutes, and there's plenty of them. It was a really good opening 45 minutes to this competition, and it took us all of 90 seconds to get the opening goal. Rasmussen's ball through, starting it. It was a good pressure from Togerson, and then Trollsgaard, despite the best efforts of Azusa Iwashimitsu, getting the ball across the line, and Denmark up and running him.
Well, let's be grateful we weren't reliant on goal line technology, but just poor defending from Japan. And first test for Yamani, showing her hesitancy off the line. Great start for Denmark.
I think it was in, but what a tough call for the assistant and the referee. at that speed and only getting one look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bright start from the Danes, but it didn't take Japan too long before they got back into their strides. Kawasumi's ball in here, Agimi's effort off the post, and then the leveller from Kozuando.
It's quality play all round from Japan. You can see Agimi just behind the flow. Just strokes it towards the back post. Just what you want your far side player to do, just follow up from those areas for a simple tap-in. No more than they deserved.
It's always good when a tournament gets up and running with a couple of early goals. Japan have completely dominated possession, but a good chance here from Agimi's header that is just wide. But that aside, Denmark have probably had the better chances.
That's the strange thing about the game. They've been dominant, Japan, in terms of possession and entries into the final third. They just lack that little bit of quality and poor timing of their runs.
It's a lovely ball through from Miyama towards Agimi. Any touch on the ball, and that would have been 2-1 Japan, but you'll see here, she actually misses the ball.
I mean, brave goalkeeping, but got to expect more from Agimi to get a toe on that.
Miyama again. Central to the creative side of the game for the Japanese. Ando's cross in, the ball going right the way through to Naomi Kawasumi. Angle was tight though, and the shot in the end, a good height for Kramer, the goalkeeper.
Solid performance from Kramer in the first half.
There were a couple of chances for the Danes in that first half. Pernille Harder unable to take them, so very much to look forward to in the second 45 minutes, but all square here at the Stadium Bella Vista at half-time. Welcome back to the Stadium Bella Vista in Paixão in Portugal. The first of two matches today from this stadium and from this group, Group C, that also contains the host nation Portugal and France. Portugal, of course, are normally involved in the development group, but Emma, what a test for the host this time. Japan, Denmark and France, three high-quality matches for them to test themselves with.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just the test a team like Portugal needs. I think for France, they will want to get off to a good start before they face the likes of Denmark, then Japan. But you've got to expect the French team to be favourites to get out of this group.
A change then for the Japanese. Sano Nagasato is about to come on. Nagasato, the midfielder from Turbina Potsdam, on for her 8th cap.
You can see from her sister Yuki Agimi's face, a great opportunity to play with her younger sibling.
26 years of age, Nagasato.
Number 23, Asano Nagasato.
Well, they're all smiles, the Danish team. Decent first half for them. Can they go on in this second half? So it will be Japan to get the second half underway. Sano Nagasato has come into the team, but it looks as though there's a problem with the netting that Irina Yamane has spotted for Japan, which is likely to cause a bit of delay before kick-off. One of the officials is out there with a chair to stand on to try and correct the problem. Uruguayan referee Claudia Umpierrez is making sure that everything's in order. It's all very different now, isn't it, to the old metal hooks that used to screw in and pegs in the ground.
Stop showing your age, Wayne.
Just can't help it sometimes. posts were made of wood in those days as well.
Made of jumpers in mine.
Japan start the second half. Miyama launching the ball immediately, looking for the run of Kawasumi. Be interesting to see the energy levels of Denmark in this second half. They put an awful lot in the opening 20 minutes, and you noticed that one or two of them were huffing and puffing by half-time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will be difficult for them to sustain it. You know, that being said, with Ando going off the pitch, I think Nagasato going onto that right-hand side, different type of player than Ando. Doesn't quite have the same pace, but very technical.
Miyama. Kawasumi. Offside. Starting the second half the way they pretty much were in the first by getting caught offside.
They just make it so easy for Denmark. Again, timing just off, though. I think she's a little unlucky there.
Kawasumi. Now Nielsen. Oh, goodness me, she's going to be booked for that. Realised she'd played herself into trouble and then just wrestled Agimi to the floor, who's landed a bit awkwardly on her neck by the looks of things.
Well, it's a clear yellow card.
Goodness me. Just hope Agimi's okay. I think there's an element of whiplash to that, you know, the way she was pulled down with the shirt and how heavily she landed.
Certainly uncomfortable for her. But Denmark, once again, turning the ball over in their defensive third.
Didn't actually see whether Nielsen was shown the yellow card, but I presume he was for that challenge. Miyama over this for Japan. It's a bit of a hit and miss game so far for Aya Miyama. It's a good ball in, dangerous ball in as well, and it was the substitute Nagasato who got her head to it.
That's what you will get with Miyama, absolute quality ball.
Miyama with the corner. Ono is in there. Kumagai up from the back as well. Claudia Pierres just laying down the law. Now Miyama to deliver. Floated in. Dealt with well by Denmark. Rasmussen clears. Up towards Togerson. There's Miyama again though. Kumagai. Kumagai once more to Miyama. Well defended though by Nielsen. Sakaguchi. Nagasato. Touch back by Kumagai to Iwashimitsu. Kinga. Nagasato, by the way, is the least experienced of the whole Japanese squad. It is here in the Algarve. It's just an 8th cap. It's the only player in the squad with single figures for caps. Here's Rasmussen. It's a good ball by Rasmussen, looking for Troelsgaard. Troelsgaard goes for goal. It was always rising though. But again, Rasmussen at the centre of that attack for Denmark.
An excellent ball in behind. This is where Denmark can be at their best. Single ball in behind, but you see she just catches it as it goes up.
By Kawasumi.
Just really contrasting styles between the two teams. I mean, Denmark seem content to be without the ball and then look for quick transition.
Sameshima. Kumagai. It's a lovely touch through towards Ono. Just a bit too heavy again, though. It's a nice idea from Nagasato. And Sanve. Nagasato putting the pressure on immediately.
Well, that's what you will get from her. Joined my team last week last year for a few training sessions. I was very impressed with her technical quality. Much different to her sister, but equally measured. Great decision maker.
Not impressed enough to sign her, though.
She's contracted to another player, Wayne, to another team, Wayne.
It's harder. Oh, only mischief making. It's harder again. Knocked away by Kumagai. Togerson and cleared by Washimitsu. Of course, the Algarve Cup hasn't made your preparations any easier, has it, for next season?
No, I have a lot of players away here. Cyprus Cup and one away with Ireland in another cup.
It's harder. Now Togerson.
Like to see Denmark build up a little more on this right-hand side. They're so dominant down the left-hand side in the first half. Just have to have a degree of patience when you're playing against Japan. You have to accept you're going to be without the ball. And if they have enough quality when they turn the Japanese team over, they can win this game.
Jensen. Now Miyama. Buys herself so much time and space and has picked out Kawasumi. Now Seneshima. Nielsen, though, helped out by Togerson. Denmark get it away. Rasmussen was after that one. Kinga got there first, though. Here's Agimi. Now Nagasato. It's 4 to aim for in the centre, but it was a poor ball in, and Sophia Pedersen takes it away. Here's Rasmussen. Trollsgaards.
That's the downside of Nagasato playing out on the right. She's more of a central player. I feel if Japan could improve that final ball into the box, it would create more.
Certainly caught by Washimitsu.
I'm surprised to see that wasn't given, but if you take that back a little, you see the ref slips at the crucial moment. I'm not sure how much of it she saw.
That was her goal that got us up and running inside 2 minutes. Too many sights of goal since. Trollsgaard, that one chance at the start of the second half blazed over. Interesting to see what the coaches' decisions are in this second half. You imagine that Norio Sasaki may be tempted into making a few changes, but for Denmark, there's an opportunity here to get what would be a morale-boosting victory against Japan. I wonder how much Niels Nielsen will be tempted to mess around with the 11 that are out there.
I think the fact there's so many games, that depends on the size of the squad. I'd like to think against Japan, he will play a strong team throughout.
Kinga's ball in, the header away by Jensen. Now Harder did well to win the ball and then almost lost it to Nagasato and then gave away the foul.
And that's where she has to improve. You know, infectious player. Decision making at times has put a team into trouble. Japan are so good at swarming the ball. If you don't receive the ball with a good first touch and release it quite quickly, they tend to smother you.
Miyama to deliver. It's the goalkeepers, easy for Kramer.
That was a poor ball from Miyama, expect more from her. But Denmark, to their credit, having the courage to play out from the back still.
Gimi's touch off to Miyama. Now, what can Denmark build here? They've got 4 on 2 if they play it right here, Denmark. They're backing off and backing off. Here's Rasmussen. It's a terrible ball in from a player of her quality. There was options available, and what a disappointing ending to that attack for Denmark.
Well, I mean, what a poor decision from Rasmussen, giving it to a most experienced player. Why didn't she shoot across the box and force Yamani into a save? I mean, that's what we're talking about. Denmark not having a lot of possession, but quick transition, quick turnover in the middle third. And all of a sudden, they found themselves 4v2.
As you say, if she'd gone for goal or just whipped it across the penalty area, there was 2 white shirts waiting for any rebound or loose ball.
I think the problem with that is Sandvik behaved like a defender coming through that middle third. You know, if a midfielder had possession, may have made a quicker decision.
It's Kumagai. Washimitsu. More warnings, though, for the Japanese. There's Jensen. Ball in behind towards Agimi. Well covered, though, by Pedersen, who needs to be careful. Agimi putting her under pressure, and Agimi has won it. Oh, she's gone over the goalkeeper. Denmark almost playing themselves into trouble there, and the referee had a decision to make here.
I think the ref's got one decision to make. It's either a penalty or a yellow card for a dive. And for me, it's a yellow card for a dive. I don't think there's any contact.
There's the slightest on the foot there, but not enough for the dramatic dive that followed.
It's poor refereeing.
Well, she's taken the easy option and not made a decision at all. Togerson. And Trollsgaard chips the ball in. Rasmussen! And Denmark are back in front. What a lovely ball that was from Trollsgaard. And Rasmussen was just the player you wanted on the end of it. Great finish. And it's Japan 1, Denmark 2.
That's not difficult, is it? There's a little bit of pace in this Danish team. Kumagai loses control. It's a great back post run from Rasmussen, a wonderful ball across the box. And that's what we've come to expect from a player who's got more than 100 caps for her country. And it just shows you don't need to dominate the football to win games. Denmark have been second best throughout this game and now find themselves leading.
31st international goal for Joanna Rasmussen. Japan behind for the second time in this game.
And that's the issue Japan face. Have been so dominant throughout this game. And at times they've toyed with Denmark, but timing of their runs into the final third and the decision making once they're there has been poor. Kramer hasn't had to do a lot, whereas Denmark, on the other hand, 2 or 3 quick counter-attacks, they find themselves leading.
Well, that was a lovely goal, wasn't it? On the last counter, they couldn't find the final ball. Rasmussen was guilty of it. It was terrific play by Trollsgaard. And a neat finish from Rasmussen. He's over this free kick now for the Danes. Header on again by the captain Jensen.
And again, some interesting defending from a set piece. Japan very narrow, looking to defend the first ball.
Here's Kumagai. Well, any defeat for either side is going to render it very difficult to reach the final of this competition. Every team will play 4 matches, as they always do in the Algarve Cup. There is a selection of playoff matches for 11th place right through to the final itself. It's just to ensure that all the teams involved do play those 4 games. It's the strongest lineup the Algarve Cup has ever had, which is why Group C is competitive and not just a development group.
I think it's for the best. I think for Japan, be interesting to see how they respond in the second half. They've come back once. I know they've got players that are capable. I felt at times their attack has looked a little limp.
Well, after 3 successive defeats to the Japanese at the Algarve Cup, Denmark on course for their first win against them in this competition. Myanmar over this for Japan. An hour gone, and the world and Asian champions are behind. Myanmar needs to start finding a bit of that quality again. Kicked in the head again, Agimi's header. And straight into the hands of Kramer.
You always have a chance with Myanmar on the pitch. She just floats the ball in towards the penalty spot. Agimi connects with it, but not enough to trouble Kramer, who's looked a safe pair of hands today.
Normally a team you would associate with quality from set pieces, but their World Cup success was pretty much based on it in 2011, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they won the World Cup effectively from very useful set-piece routines. And from what I understand, not something they rehearsed a great deal.
Denmark are about to make a change. Agimi. Here's Myanmar. Now Kinga. Ball in behind again towards Agimi. Kramer quickly off her line and was caught by the Japanese forward. It's a free kick for Denmark.
Well, not the first time, but Kramer's been decisive and certainly braver than Agimi on these occasions.
I think she was fouled as much by Pedersen, their own player, as she was Agimi. Pedersen is off. And on comes Camilla Kerr-Larsen. Samve. Pedersen. Nielsen's header. Put in by Sakaguchi. And it's been won back by the substitute, Larsen.
The game's getting a little scrappy. It's a good dispossession again from Agimi, who's worked hard for her team from the front. This is where we get to see the experience and quality of Japan going forward.
Agimi, lovely turn away, and it's tipped away by Kramer. Jensen well beaten there by the quality of Agimi, but helped out by a goalkeeper.
Why does it look so far? Agimi looks the most likely goal scorer for Japan. Especially the second half, she's getting more opportunities.
Corner taken short. Myanmar with the up and under, the header back across by Iwashimitsu. And then the header eventually over the top for a goal kick for Denmark.
Just look at the poor touch from Kumagai. Really causes ourselves a lot of problems.
What a ball that was though from Trollsgaard.
Well, she's earned that. She's worked hard from the front.
Kawasumi. Back heel towards Ono. The angle's tight. Omo fizzes it across. Goodness me, it was almost a gift of a goal for Nagasato, but the whistle has gone anyway.
Oh, perhaps another offside. Ogimi's offside, but Ono certainly wasn't. I'd be surprised if she did flag for that. It's poor officiating. Ono was clearly coming from an onside position. Yeah. This is one of the frustrating things I find with Japan. You know, they're dominant to a point where they could have killed this game off a lot sooner. Just lack that clinical edge.
Oh no. Challenge from Trollsgaards.
I think if they're to retain the trophy, the World Cup trophy, they're certainly going to have to finish opponents off sooner. I think they leave teams hanging in the game too long.
There's Rasmussen. Kinga. Pedersen again. They've certainly got a favourable group, Japan, in terms of qualifying for the knockout stages of the World Cup.
I think overall they're going to be pleased. As you mentioned before, Asian Cup champions. This group are an average age of about 26. They've been together for a while. Know how they play. Their style of play is very distinct. And they've got the quality to go all the way. I think teams know how to play against them better. I think they're very vulnerable on the counter-attack just because they lack the pace. I think when you're playing against players that can get in behind you early, it's a real threat.
Yuika Sugasawa is coming on for Japan. Shinobu Ono will make way. Sugasawa from Jeff United, 24-year-olds. On for a 25th cap for Japan. Trollsgaard, lovely ball to Nielsen. Played in behind Rasmussen and cleared away anyway by Washimitsu. Now Kawasumi. Will she go on her own, Kawasumi? Still going, Kawasumi. Holds the ball up. Waiting for the cavalry to arrive, and it does, and Kramer beats away the shot in the end. There's good hold-up play from Kawasumi, and Yukari King are the right back in the end arriving.
Well, there's a good overload there for Japan, good fast break. And Kawasumi just lacked that individual pace to finish it off herself. But again, it's all Japan. Dominant second half performance.
Corner floated in, the header away by Pedersen. Japan picking up the loose ball though. Here's a chance for Kumagai. Blocked away by Trollsgaard. And again, Trollsgaard clears. He's in on everything at the moment at both ends of the field. Switched out by Kawasumi towards Ogimi. Header out once more by Pedersen from Miyama's cross. And it's a free kick to Denmark, and it's growing into an increasingly frustrating afternoon for Japan.
I think they're really struggling to finish off the chances created. I think for every save that Kramer has made today, all of them have been comfortable and within range. And I think that's something Japan have to figure out. If Ogimi's not getting the goals for them, which player is capable of scoring?
Pedersen. Now Nielsen. Play by the substitute, Larsen. Chase on here for Harder. Oh, it's handball. Right in front of the assistant. She wasn't going to get away with that.
I think it's been a frustrating afternoon for Pernille Harder.
Samashima. From Kumagai. 20 minutes to go. No panic, though, from Japan. 2-1 down. Kinga. Well played by Jensen initially, but then all given away to Awashimitsu. Miyama. Oh, it's a lovely ball from Miyama. Pedersen just got there, though, ahead of Nagasato. I thought Sugasawa was going to go for it initially.
Sort of felt like both players ran away from the ball. There's much more urgency from Japan. They're getting in behind more often.
It's Kumagai. Denmark lead, but it could be a long last 18.5 minutes or so for them. There's Kumagai. Launched by Kinga. Too much on it again, though, for Sugasawa. Samashima's header. Kawasumi to Ogimi. And now Sugasawa in behind. Again, she seems slow to get onto that. I thought she had the advantage over Kramer.
Just time and time again, they're getting in behind and not finishing off the opportunities created. And Japan are unlucky to be 2-1 down. They're the dominant team.
It's a lovely touch in again. Now Sugasawa has it. But the flag has gone up for offside.
But this is what I think they have to realise as a team. Just because they dominate proceedings, they have to finish a team off.
She was off, absolutely no argument. Sakaguchi. Nielsen. Now Larsen. Nielsen again. Togerson. Samashima. Pedersen. All turned into trouble there. Pedersen straight to Ogimi. Now Miyama. Nagasato up in support. Oh, it's a terrible ball from Miyama. Terrific player, but she's not had the best of games.
Oh, the quality of that final ball has been lacking. Just either overhit or underhit passes. You can see Japan just a little more rushed. As a result of that, the quality of the final pass has let them down in the second half.
Kawasumi's throw to Sugasawa. He couldn't keep it in.
I just feel if they get one quality moment, they're going to finish.
But in terms of reaching the final, they probably need to win this game, don't they?
Perhaps in their long-term development and the build-up to the World Cup, might be in their best interest to lose the game. I think we can see with Japan, they have the quality. But at times, I feel they lack the execution.
So in what way is it better for them to lose? Just for...
Shake them up a little. And just a reminder, you can see box to box, they're one of the best teams in the world, but they concede too easily, look too vulnerable, and going forward for the amount of dominance and chances created, Still only have 1 goal on the score sheet.
And Sakaguchi. Now Kumagai. Time running out though, 15 minutes for Japan to get themselves into it. It's been one of those games, hasn't it? When the ball has been good, the forward has been offside, and then when the forward is onside, the ball hasn't been good enough.
Pre-season tournament, you know, you can see it in their play, and that's why they do take part in 4 or 5 games at the Algarve, because they need this preparation.
It's the best part of 4 months since Japan have played. Here's Miyama. Kawasumi. Free kick. Takes no prisoners, Nielsen.
No, she's put in another tough performance against Kawasumi. But this is where Japan can create. With Miyama, you've got the best set piece taker in the world.
Hasn't shown it though this afternoon. Aya Miyama. Can she produce that moment of quality that we all know she's capable of, the Japanese captain? Brings it in again. It's a good header away by Pedersen. Headed back into the danger zone by Nagasato, but Denmark defending well and determinedly, and Samve clears. Sakaguchi. Kinga. No foul, referee waving play on. Here's Kawasumi. Now Miyama. Kawasumi. Kumagai. Iwashimitsu again. Constant possession from Japan. At the moment, just that 1 goal to show for it. Kinga's cross in, the header away by Pedersen. Samve clears. Up towards Harder. Now Togerson. Well played. Has Larsson and Harder in support. Togerson. Can she pick out the right ball? Here's Larsson. Goes for goal, and it was a woeful effort from Camilla Larsson, the substitute.
That's what we've seen from Denmark all afternoon. A threat on the counter-attack.
It's only a 2nd cap today, Larsson. Player from Fortuna Hjørring. Miyama. 2 to aim for, one of which is Agimi, who slipped. And then Sugasawa just couldn't take the ball in a stride. The first time effort from Sakaguchi. Slices well wide.
Good play on that right-hand side. It's a good ball in from Miyama. I think Sakaguchi could have controlled the ball. Off balance. And did have the option of Kawasumi to her left.
It's Harder.
It's certainly been competitive in the midfield areas today.
Heading towards the final 10 though. Miyama again with the umpteenth free kick today. Oh, that was a better ball in. Helped on by Iwashimitsu, but it was a Danish head that got there first. Oh, it's given away by Nielsen to Kawasumi. One back by Harder. And now Rasmussen.
Good experienced play from Rasmussen on the left-hand side.
Another change for the Danes. Lotta Charlesgaard is coming on for Johanna Rasmussen, who at the moment looks like she may have scored the winning goal in this game.
As a player that Denmark can count on. Hasn't been overly involved in the play today, but involved with the key moments. And that's what makes her Denmark's most threatening player.
Second change then for Denmark. Fourth cap for Lotte Trollsgaards. Free kick for Denmark. That's what Japan need to be wary of whilst pushing for this equaliser, is the concession of a third. And that would surely be the end of the game then. And it goes. Oh, the goalkeeper has lost it. It's a great chance for Pedersen. And she's pulled it wide. What a chance to wrap up the win for Denmark.
Oh, absolutely, what a chance. It's not the first time we've seen an indecisive Yamani. Denmark should put the game away.
What a chance for Sofia Pedersen.
That's the challenge for Japan. They have a young, inexperienced goalkeeper taking them into the World Cup. And I think she lacks that experience at times. You can see that with her indecision coming off of her line. Strong from crosses, good in aerial reaches. But she really has to work at that early ball in that space behind her two centre-backs.
Do you think they go with Yamani, or will they revert to Fukumoto?
I think they go with Yamani.
Here's Ogimi. Here's Miyama. Helped on really well towards Sameshima. Oh, it was well blocked by Togerson. They're appealing for handball, but really, even if it did catch the arm, there was nothing that Togerson could do about that. It does, doesn't it? But it's deflected up off her leg. I mean, extremely harsh if you start giving those.
Yeah, it would be. You could see with the referee's reaction, she felt the same.
Well, mass changes here for Japan. Ariyoshi, Takazi and Utsugi all coming on for the Japanese. And I think Luna Gevitz as well looks set to come on for Denmark. Ariyoshi is on for Kinga. Now Tsugi is on for Japan. Sun shining right into that board, isn't it? It's almost impossible to read from up here. It's the Danish change. Togerson is being replaced by Gevitz. Foul throw there against Sameshima.
You see how important it is for Denmark to hang on to the result. It's putting on some fresh legs, and equally for Japan, they need something different in this last 6-7 minutes.
Trollsgaard did well initially to win the ball back for Denmark, but flicked on by Agimi. Illegally so, though. It's a free kick for Denmark. He just took a bit of a ride there on Nielsen. Is it Sugi? Nagasato. So Ariyoshi, Takaze, Utsugi, Nagasato and Sugasawa now all on for Japan. Nielsen's throw. Put in by Semeshima. It's unable to get a touch on that. It's a Japanese ball. Time is running out.
Japan have brought on their young guns. Takasi on this left-hand side can deliver a wonderful ball into the box.
First time shot is over the top from Utsugi. I thought it was just going to dip for a moment from the Montpellier midfielder, but set it off just too high.
I think at times he may be looking towards these younger players as they progress through the Algarve tournament to see how they manage pressure against tough opponents. You know, an experienced team has done well today, but for me, they were laboured in their attack. They've been offside too many times. And Kramer has not been tested enough.
Finished some 10 points behind Switzerland in their World Cup qualifying group, the Danes. They actually finished third in a group, a point behind Iceland, another vastly improving nation. So it just shows how good Switzerland are these days. Of course, the emergence of the Dutch as well. They've qualified for their first World Cup. It's in a healthy state, European women's football.
And improving all the time.
Still nobody can beat Germany, though, when it comes to the European Championships. Remarkable, isn't it?
Never say never.
Let's play through here for Japan. Sugasawa looking to get on the end of it, and Nielsen clears. 2013 was the year that Germany were going to be unseated, and it didn't happen, did it?
Well, I think the French might have something to say this year, or at least all eyes will be on this French team.
Well, it was Denmark that ended their hopes in the Euros, and they're not at the World Cup, so who knows? Miyama's corner. Oh, the flick on! Oh, it's off the line brilliantly. Hagimi must have thought she'd scored, and then it's driven over the top on the follow-up by Takaze. What a chance for Japan, and was it perhaps their last chance to get something from the game?
Well, it's a great header, but that's why you have players on the line.
Sambe's done brilliantly.
She's done her job at the back post, because you could see Hagimi thought it was going in.
Something about that goal line today, isn't there? By Semeshima. 2 minutes to go. Well played by Nielsen. There's no way she was giving that one up. Real battler, the Danish right back from Brøndby. Miyama. Header on by Sugasawa. Hagimi gets a touch onto it. Ariyoshi is there with the cross. Stabbed away, though, by Pedersen. Only as far as Miyama. Now Nagasato. Cleared away by Pedersen. Japan continually applying this pressure, but Denmark have defended stoutly. Thrown into Nagasato. Deep delivery this time towards Hagimi. It's beaten down by Kramer, and the whistle has gone.
Can't help but think if we'll be here for another 30 minutes, they won't score. It's not through a lack of goal creation. Good goalkeeping. You know, she isn't comfortable above Hagimi. I think it is a foul.
.52 goals and 112 appearances. Here's Yuki Hagimi. Shinobu Ono, who was taken off, 39 in 125. With records like that, they shouldn't be struggling in front of goal, but they have done here. Miyama. Especially with Miyama to deliver the bullets. Agimi. By Agimi, but it's behind Takaze. 3 minutes to be added on at the end. They're almost there, Denmark, for what would be a really notable victory. Jensen over this. Niema's header towards Semeshima. Well, not the ideal start to 2015 for Japan, but a real boost for Denmark after their World Cup qualification failure. Matches to come in this group against France and Portugal for both these teams. Next up for the Danes is France. If you come through that one with all 3 points, they've got a great chance of going all the way. Couldn't have been a more difficult start to this competition for Denmark, Japan and France in the opening 2 matches. All the yellow cards out here. Shown in very officious fashion to Jensen rather. A minute to go. Janne Jensen with it. Headed by Nagasato, it's fallen for Pedersen.
Just doing what they need to do to run the clock down.
Well, they may not have qualified for the World Cup, but they've certainly shown here they can hold a candle to the best teams on their day. Well played by Trollsgaard, who's been terrific. He's played her part in both goals, scoring the first, creating the second. Here's Harder. Had a couple of chances in the first half, which she didn't take. She's just happy to run it into the corner. It may be a warm-up stroke friendly tournament, whatever you want to call it, but this win will be massive for Denmark.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been without the ball a lot of the game. Managed to hold on. Been a solid performance.
And that is the final whistle. It's been a tough 90 minutes for Denmark, but all worth it after 3 successive defeats to Japan in the Algarve Cup. They have picked up a victory and have made a winning start. The world and Asian champions beaten. Trollsgaard took 2 minutes to break through. Ando with the equaliser for Japan. But in the end, Johanna Rasmussen's goal in 57 minutes has seen it finish Japan 1, Denmark 2. So that is the first match of 2 games in Group C. Myself and Emma will be back for Portugal-France later. But coming up now, it is Germany versus Sweden from the Estadio Municipal here in the Algarve. And we will leave you in the very capable hands of Tim Capel and Sue Smith.
Thanks very much there, Wayne. A truly headline-grabbing result. That is the defending world champions going down against Denmark. But we here have got some spectacle for you as well. Germany against Sweden. What a mouth-watering prospect this is for the next 90 minutes.